Hello, hello, hello. It is day 17. Day 17. We're going to be talking more about the truth of your worth and value. Yep, we are. So if you are here watching the replay, #replay, you can advance to 5 minutes in because that's when I start the broadcast, giving people a chance to find me. But let me tell you quick, and I'll repeat this later on, but I believe that the world has more depression in it, people that are more depressed than ever. And part of the reason is things we've been talking about already, and that is a sense of unworthiness, not feeling worthy. We're going to talk more about that today. But the second reason is that most people feel powerless. They feel powerless in their life, in their situations, in their circumstances. They feel powerless in this world. They have this futility, like it's not going to matter what I do. In fact, there's nothing I can do about a situation. I just have to eat it. I just have to live with it. They resign themselves to it, right? People don't feel powerful. And I think that's why there is a lot of the whole empowerment, coaching, empowerment industry has exploded because we've recognized that part of the problem we deal with in this world is that feeling of disempowerment. Okay? We are not operating in this world in the way that God intended to us as powerful beings. So we're going to talk more about that in 5 minutes or maybe 4 now. Okay? So hang on to your hat, go make yourself comfortable, and tell me who's on now. Who's here? Who wants to be brave enough to make themselves known so I can send them some love? Hola, it's the hubby. Hello, darling. Hey, Candace, it's good to see you. Yeah. Trying to see what your last name is. There's a thing in the way. Oh, good. Very good. Hey, Christina, it's a little hard for me to read some of these names because they're in a dark color. Yeah, they're in a dark color, and the background is dark. So that's kind of weird, right? Candace, where are you? Where are you calling from? Or where are you coming in from? Ah, Monfiglio. Yeah, where are you calling from? Did you just get married or something? And I'm glad you're sitting down to relax. That's a good thing to be doing while you are watching this. Okay, another minute. Yeah, another minute. Mm-hmm. You're not getting audio because I'm not saying anything. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? All right. Oh gosh, 10 more seconds. We're going to get started. Candace, you're really cute. Really cute. Self-employed. What do you do? Tell me what you do. Are you guys getting audio now? Let me know. Let me know. All right, so today what we're going to continue talking about favor. We're going to continue talking about how we need to really establish at a very, very core level, a cellular level, we need to establish our belief in who we are, our worth, and our value. You know, how you think about yourself, what you perceive about yourself is how you're going to show up in the world. It's how you're going to treat people. It's going to determine your thoughts, your feelings, your actions, your behaviors, right? So the higher you think about yourself, all right? Now, most of the world or even religion wants to tell you to bring it down a notch, right? Bring it down a notch. A lot of people are saying she's getting too haughty. We got to take her out at her knees, okay? So, really, the truth of the matter is the higher you think about yourself, because there is a verse that says, don't think more highly of yourself than you ought. Well, what is you ought? How about if you think at least as high as God thinks about you? Could you do any better than that? Right? Could you do any better than that? So that's what we want to do. We want to align our thoughts, our perceptions, our beliefs about ourselves, because it's so instrumental to how we share love in the world, how we receive love in the world, whether we receive love or not, whether we have a big capacity to receive or we have a small capacity to receive, is determined by what we think and what we feel about ourselves. Okay? Before I continue, I really need to know if you guys can hear me. Okay? I don't see anything here that I have. My audio is off. Okay, good. Thank you, Clara. All right, terrific. All right, so once again, what you think, what you perceive, what you believe about yourself, who you are, your value, and your worth will determine how you show up in the world. It will determine what you choose. It will determine the words coming out of your mouth. And what I said at the beginning, which you may or may not heard, is that I believe I don't believe, it's factual. There is a huge depression problem in the world. Okay? More people than ever are on antidepressants. People are depressed. And I think there's two reasons for that. Number one, it's because they don't have a very high opinion of themselves. They certainly don't have an opinion of themselves that God has of them. And if they think about what God thinks of them, it's usually not very pretty. The second thing is there's a feeling of powerlessness. One of the things in my clients, they're high achievers. They have accomplished a great deal in life. They seem to have so much control over their lives and their destiny, right? But many of them, not all of them, but many of them suffer from depression. And the depression doesn't stop them from achieving. It doesn't stop them from having an impact and doing great things in the world, but it does affect their joy. It does affect their energy levels. It does affect how much they can actually put out there and their ability to really thrive, right? So, powerlessness, this feeling of powerlessness is huge. So, one of the things that I like to do is help identify what is it that is specifically making a person feel disempowered. And how can we change that, change the paradigms, change the energy? Because so much of what we think and believe is energy. Well, it's all energy. The world is all energy. God created a world that operates and consists of energy. And I believe love is an energy. Love is an energy. It has a vibration to it. God made it that way. This is not some woo-woo thing. This is actually God made our world this way with all this energy. So when you're feeling a lot of fear, when you're feeling disempowered, when you're feeling shame and guilt, that puts out an energy, right? And if you got all these people in the world doing that, then we have a lot of that energy going into the world. We can make the change in it. We can make the change by first with ourselves, our relationship with God, receive from God love. divine love, divine wisdom, divine favor at the cellular level so that it's natural, so that it just pumps through your veins and it radiates out of you so you don't have to work at it. Okay? So today I want to, with that in mind, yesterday I talked about a verse in the Bible that is very elevating. It is so elevating, but we give it short shrift if we even know it at all. So, what I would like you to do, okay, thanks, honey. What I'd like you to do is really, I'm going to explain to you in the Greek what the word accepted means. Okay, Ephesians 1:6, it says that we are accepted in the beloved. The beloved is God. All right, we are accepted in Him, that He has received us and that He accepts us. Now, there is, I wrote this book, guys, about 10 years ago, and I'm going to take an excerpt from it because I actually said it pretty well. Being accepted by God is a quality of His love that we all desire. But it is fairly common for us to think that His acceptance means that no matter how flawed and imperfect I am, He will always love and accept me. That does bring us a sense of relief. At least God won't disregard me because of my flaws. Now, there's nothing really wrong with that thinking, except it may cause us to be grateful to God for something that doesn't accurately reflect His heart. Oh, how about that? So Candace has the book. All right, good. Yes, if you want to write this down, Candace, I'm reading from page 48. Okay, I have not taken this book out to read for a long time, a long time. But as we're talking about favor, and I wrote a book on favor, why not, right? Okay, so what I'm saying is that thinking that God accepts me with all my flaws and my failings and my imperfections, and He won't disregard me because He's God, all right, and He loves me because He's God, is okay to think, but I don't think it's an accurate reflection of what He really believes. Now, this is just going through my own revelations. This is my opinion from messages that I've received from God. Take it or leave it. But if you do take it, I think that you're going to be more empowered. Okay? It's like He's saying, here I am, the magnificent one, putting up with these troublesome earthlings because I love them. And that's what love does. So, such thinking almost imposes a reluctance upon God and a guilt upon us. Can you see that? Can anybody see that in what I just said? God thinking, here I am, the magnificent one, putting up with these troublesome earthlings. Have you ever had that thought that that's what God is doing with you? Just kind of putting up with you as a troublesome earthling? Okay. Thank you, honey. Yes. So I believe there is a higher, more accurate view of being accepted by God. I do. Ephesians 1:6 says that we are accepted in the beloved. And this is fascinating because the Greek word used for accepted, and I mentioned this yesterday, but I didn't have my book to read this exact language. The Greek word for acceptance means, in this context, is charitou, Charitoo. And listen to what it means. And when I read this to you, I'm going to read it slowly because I want you to take it in. I want you to just absorb this. This is what God is saying about you. All right? Charitou means to make special. You are made special. You are made special. Bring it. Bring it in. I am special. God made me special. Can you say that about yourself? God made me special. Number 2, it means to be highly favored. Now, we've been talking about that. I am highly favored. You are highly favored. We are highly favored. Okay? And we said the other day that highly favored means approving consideration. You may need to go back a few videos, but approving consideration. And what does it mean to our lives if we have approving consideration? That when God looks at us, he approves. He's not wagging a finger. He's not pointing out the mistakes we made. He's not saying, when are you going to get this? We sometimes have a opinion of God that he's impatient. Like, how many times do I have to tell you? That sounds like a parent, but that is not God. Okay? That is not God. Number 3, and I really like this one, so really take a minute for this one. Endowed and transfused with special honor. Endowed and transfused with special honor. I'd like you to think about transfusions, right? Transfusions are like you're replacing blood. You're adding and replacing blood. Rich, perfect, beautiful blood for maybe not so good blood. Transfused. Transfused. I am endowed and transfused with special honor. Yesterday we talked about, have we ever thought about God honoring us? We're supposed to honor God. But have we ever thought about God honoring us? And can that give us some permission to honor ourselves? And yesterday we talked about how we can if we take time and say, I honor myself. I appreciate myself. I honor my desires. I honor my personality. I honor who I am in God. I give it a special place. I think highly enough of what God has done that I can honor me. So we introduced this topic yesterday, and I want to reinforce it today, right? Number 4, to honor with blessings. So it's not just this feeling and this thought like I'm worthy, which you are. And I'm worthy of being honored. God considers me worthy of being honored. But it's also to honor with blessings. A lot of times we talk about somebody speaks at a conference and they might receive an honorarium. An honorarium is a gift to honor them, to say thank you for speaking. Thank you for sharing your goodies with us. So God honors us with blessings. So just put your hand on your heart and say, I am honored with blessings. I am honored with blessings. Now, the more you do this, the more you receive this, the more you're going to go out into the world and you're going to see it differently. You're going to see more blessings. And even when people say mean things to you, all right, you're going to have something inside that's going to go, speak to the hand, right? I had recently somebody I care about. I was joking about something, and she said, oh my gosh, you always say weird stuff. And at the moment, I just kind of laughed about it. Like, why do you say that? Blah, 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 right? You always say weird stuff. Well, I don't always say, yeah, you do. You always say weird stuff. So, at the moment, it didn't really bother me. But later on, snipers in the night, that thing comes up or that little thing creeps back into your mind. Have you ever had that? Somebody says something to you and at the moment it doesn't really bother you, but then later on it kind of wheedles its way in, taunts you a little bit. And then you just get defensive. I'm not weird. And then my brain is not saying that I say weird stuff. My brain is saying, you are weird. You are weird. All right. So being weird is not necessarily something I want to think about myself. But the truth of the matter is, If I really think about it, sometimes the things I say are weird to people. They don't get it. They don't like it. They don't agree with it. But a lot of times I say things that may provoke. And I don't really mean to provoke people. I'm not really the kind of person that likes to provoke people. Sometimes I just do it naturally. Can't help it. Just who I am. I just have this thing about me sometimes that can be weird to some people or provoke them in ways that make them uncomfortable. Right? So I'm not going to start talking about how weird they are or how bad they are or what's wrong with them that they don't understand me. But where I can go if I feel hurt, if I feel some doubt or my self esteem goes down, to say that you're weird in a way that's not elevating is a dishonor. It's a dishonor. But that's okay. People will do that. People will do that to you. Have you ever been told you're weird, or has anybody ever said things to you that were dishonoring? Of course. What can we do when that happens? We can take a moment and we can go to God and we can say, thank you. Maybe I am weird, but I'm your kind of weird. And you honor me and you love me and you've made me special, right? And that gives me to the fifth definition of accepted. To make graceful, charming, lovely, and agreeable. So in the face of that dishonor, in the face of that comment, maybe not at the moment, maybe at the moment, or maybe later on when it really starts having its way with me, I don't want to be graceful, charming, lovely, and agreeable. What I want to do is I want to say, take that. Oh, you think you're that? What I want to say is something defensive and aggressive and attacking back, at least for a moment or two, right? But I have to forgive. I have to forgive that person. If I feel offended and they've said something that can be perceived as negative and disagreeable and dishonoring, all right, I can forgive that person. And by doing that and receiving the favor that God has for me, I can once again be graceful, charming, lovely, and agreeable. And the interesting thing is, I can be that because it actually says to make you graceful, charming, loving, agreeable. All right? So that's your true nature. Sometimes when we get offended, we lose sight of our true nature. We step out of our true nature. We get into ego. We get into pride. We get into offense, right? So we want to get back to love, get back to favor, and reappropriate our true selves, which is graceful, charming, lovely, and agreeable. What do you guys think about that? What do you think about that? Now, how do you think, if we have this opinion of ourselves, right? And we're highly favored and we are endowed and transfused with special honor and we're honored with blessings, how do you think that can set us up to achieve great things in life? Even the impossible. How do you think that can happen? Okay, I'd like you to think about that a little bit. How do you think that can happen? Now remember, yesterday I said the word keratou in Greek was the same Greek word that was used for Mary when the angel came to her to say that she was going to be giving birth to Jesus. Now talk about impossible. Impossible. Okay? There is a strong connection between highly favored and achieving the impossible. Mary was like, that's not possible. I'm a virgin. Well, because you're highly favored, it's not impossible. It's not impossible. And so things that seem impossible to us are possible with God, with love, with favor. All the things of God, who he is to us and who we are to him, are all in one big ball of favor and love and blessings, wisdom, setups, resources, opportunities, connections. It's all a part of that. That doesn't mean that Mary didn't have to suffer some shame from people who looked at her, didn't understand what was going on, right? Of course she did. But when she got filled up with the highly favored stamp of approval from God Himself, that gave her the courage and the strength to withstand those voices, to withstand those shaking fingers, so she could complete the destiny that God had for her. No different for us. No different for us. Okay, that's a lot for one time, isn't it? Couple more minutes. My husband says, the odds present at conception proves our uniqueness at a very basic level, that we are special. Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I think it's like 1 in a 34 trillion chance of you being born. I mean, there are statistics that they have done on this. Maybe, honey, you could actually look that up for us. What is the chance? What are the chances of actually being born? Yeah. Any other comments about this? And if you're watching the replay, I would love to know what you think, right? How does feeling highly, knowing and believing at a cellular level, receiving the favor that God has for us, okay? How can that help you with your destiny? How can it help you leave a legacy? How can it help you make an impact and influence people? I could not be on these calls day in and day out saying what I'm saying to anybody who's out there to listen if I didn't know that I'm highly favored. I couldn't. I'm not that strong of a person, but favor makes me strong. Favor makes me strong. And I can listen to the heartbeat of God, because the connection between love and favor and my relationship with God allows me to be a channel, allows me to actually speak His words and to hear His voice to give to others, and to have the courage and the confidence to do that. This is what favor can do for you. But we have to take time. It's almost like a daily immersion. If you're too busy to spend time receiving love and receiving favor from God, then chances are you're making the rest of your life harder. Just saying. You're making the rest of your life harder. Okay? Your life isn't nearly as creative as it could be. It isn't nearly as prosperous as it could be. Okay? Favor cures shame, and it cures guilt, and it cures disempowerment. Okay, makes you this person that is basically alive and can feel one with the world rather than at odds with the world. Yeah. I'll wait another minute to see if my husband comes up with that any statistic, and if he doesn't, that's fine. I mean, I know it's out there, but it might be hard to find. Any other comments here? Beautiful people? I'm very glad to be doing these lives, because what I share with you has to come through and to me first. All right? What I share with you has to come to me and through me first. And because of that, I get blessed. Yeah. My husband says, a TEDx speaker said that scientists estimate the probability of your being born at about 1 in 400 trillion. Yeah, I knew it was some incredible number. And when I first saw that, I'm going, where do they get that from? And I remember trailing it all the way down. And this scientist actually breaks it down and then breaks it down and then breaks it down and breaks it down till he came up with 1 in 400 trillion. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Clara says, please share your next step. What are you offering in 2023? Well, that's a very nice question. I have two things in mind. All right. Besides my one-on-one coaching program, I don't have the name for it. And actually, it would be nice if anybody who's listening gave me some feedback on this name. But I would love to do a Love and Money Boot Camp. I don't know if it's going to be 8 weeks, 6 weeks, 10 weeks, 8 weeks. I'm not sure. I haven't written out the curriculum totally yet. So a Love and Money Boot Camp, because I believe that love, when you're filled up with love, you actually can make more money. So that's one. The other thing is, April 24th through the 30th is my retreat. My retreat, it's for 10 women in Hawaii, in a beautiful place called Ko'olina. So more on that later, but yeah, thanks for asking, Clara. Hattie says, I haven't the slightest interest in whether or not God accepts me. The issue is, do I accept him or her? I don't. Well, if you don't, then we have nothing to say to each other other than blessings to you. Or wait, you don't believe in blessings? So, all right. I'm not sure what you believe in. And I'm not sure why you would be on this call, because this call is actually about acceptance and favor and love. So, I'm sure you have your reasons. I'm sure you have your reasons. But even if you don't believe, you don't care whether God accepts you or loves you, you can still feel loved. And I'm sure you have, because love is everywhere. Love is everywhere. And when we feel loved and we feel valued and we feel worthy, then we are able to show up in a bigger, better way to the world. We can give more love, right? Okay. So, but Hattie, thank you anyway for making a comment. Yeah, you're welcome to be here. HuffPost article. Oh, Dr. Ellie Benazir, are you a miracle on the probability of your being born? There you go. Cool. Very cool. Well, anyway, thank you for those of you who came and those of you who are going to watch the replay. May you feel more loved. However you go about doing that, these are just tips and tools that you can use for those people who do believe in God. This can help you. If you don't believe in God, you still can feel loved, and I still send you love. All right? Because love is really what the world needs. So, and I also understand that a lot of people of faith are not people that show much love in the world. And that's a sad thing, because they have access to so much love. They can perceive love, they can send love. And some of them do a beautiful job and others don't. So, right? But what we can do is we can be people who actually understand that we are valued, that we are worthy, that we have love, that we are loved, and we can give love. All right? Okie dokie. Hi, Evelyn. Just here to say thank you. You're welcome. Good to see you. All right, everyone. Blessings to you. Have a great day. Enjoy yourself, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.